So this is a requested video, and honestly, I am so excited and happy to do the video because Christian fiction is one of my favorite genres. Even though I have not read any lately, it is still one of my favorites. My name is Raquel. Welcome and welcome back. So in this video, we're going to get into some free Christian fiction. Some of it is also Kindle Unlimited, and then we have a few that are 99¢. So let's get started. The first book is called I Am the One. God Heal My Broken Heart. It is by Sherilyn L. Rochester Dix. It says, she waited 15 years for a ring. He gave her heartbreak instead. I thought Darius was my favorite, my high school sweetheart, my ride or die, the man who promised to give me the world. But after giving up my dreams, my voice, and everything I was for him, I realized I was clinging to someone who never intended to choose me. He didn't forget our anniversary, he just didn't care. Wow. Now, the man I built my life around is gone, and I'm left to pick up the shattered pieces of who I used to be. Rock bottom looks like burned cake, broken promises, and an eviction notice. But when everything falls apart, maybe it's because God is calling you to rise. This isn't just a breakup story, it's a becoming. Raw, gripping, and deeply emotional. I Am the One is a God fiction novel for every woman who ever loved too long, stayed too quiet, or forgotten who she was. If you ever begged God to fix something he was trying to free you from, then this story is your mirror. It's about healing after a break that nearly destroyed her. And it's about second chances, and not just in love, but in purpose, faith, and rediscovering yourself. Stay for the heartbreak, heal through the heartbreak, discover that you were the one all along. Hmm, okay, that sounds really good. I am definitely going to download this one. And I think this one was free. The next one is The Winter Reunion by Rhonda McKnight. Rhonda McKnight is one of my favorites, and you usually do not get her books for 99¢ or for free. So it says, everyone knows the woman in the viral video that hit hit 2 million views on YouTube, humiliated Tamar Johnson, changed her name, and disappeared behind the embarrassing video that captured her losing her virginity on prom night. But who's the guy? NFL running back Stephen Pierce is football's darling. He spent his entire career doing community service work with at risk kids and endeared fans as a devoted Christian, even claiming celibacy. It's time for his high school reunion. Stephen is determined to get his ex, Tamar, to come out of hiding, even going as far as posting their prom pic on Instagram in hopes that she would accept the challenge to show up. Tamar isn't interested in the reunion, but her boss is. She writes for a small magazine. Stephen Pierce is a big story. With reunion activity in full swing, the tension between Tamar and Stephen reaches an unbearable level. Before it's over, will the world find out who the real Stephen Pierce is, and will Tamar survive spending time with the only man who has ever had her heart? This is a part of a series. The other book, I can't remember the name of the other book, but there's two books, and this is the first one. And then we have Barren by Faith. I do not know how to pronounce her last name. Arsenal. I think her name is Faith Arsenal. This is book 1 of 3, and it is, I think all three of them are Kindle Unlimited. I know the first one is Kindle Unlimited. This one. After suffering a devastating loss, Nina finds herself alone. She doesn't feel God's grace or her husband's love. His unexplained late nights finally break her. With the help of a good friend, she decides instead of giving up, she'll surrender. Barren is a story of redemption, a beautiful reminder that God is always near the brokenhearted. As long, okay, so yeah, um, I've seen this so many times on my Kindle, just scrolling through, and I've never read the synopsis or anything. Um, but I might have to check this one out as well. And then you have As Long as I Pray by T. Lamore. This is book one of three. It is on Kindle Unlimited, or you can purchase it for 99 cents. It says, wealthy, educated, influential, spiritual, charming. Camille King has it all: money, stocks, cars, real estate, and a multi-million-dollar home in Atlanta. She shares with Stefan. We're gonna call him Stefan just to differentiate him from the person before. Um, Her husband of 15 years and dog Cupid. Stefan is the air she breathes. He's funny, giving, and protective, and he spoils her like crazy. There's just one problem. Behind all the glamour and glitz, secrets, lies, betrayals, and disappointments. Camille discovers a receipt from a business trip Stefan took to California that has her furious. Are Stefan out of town trips for pleasure or business? But Camille has been keeping a secret she dare not tell anyone, including her best friend Aries, who is suspicious about her marriage to Stefan. Aries knows there is one thing Camille wants from Stefan that he refuses to give her: a baby. With her biological clock ticking, Camille takes matters into her own hands and causes her marriage to suffer. Those things you keep to yourself damage you from the inside out. Follow Camille King as she plows through a rough season in her once blissful marriage. Like most wives, she's not exempt from problems, disappointment, or heartache. This series is a tale of love, betrayal, grief, and a desperate plea for help from the one and only from the only one who can help you, God. Then we have Sweet Bitter Better by M. Ryan. This is a Kindle Unlimited book, and I chose this book. This book is the reason why I chose to add some Kindle Unlimited books, because I wanted to add this one. I am definitely going to be getting this one and reading it. It says, walk with Marjorie Prince down her path. From the role of the pillar of her family to the era flourishing as a community leader. Pursuing her passions and spreading her wings. Doing so means abandoning her comfort zone, enduring critique from her adult kids, and facing her broken relationship with her mother. It's Marjorie's moment. As a divorced mom, she's devoted her life to supporting her three children. Now they're independent, and it's time for her to be selfish and prioritize herself. She's not sure how to do this. Sweet describes Marjorie's grandchildren, her financial acumen, and her investment portfolio. It also describes her relationship with her adult kids, her best friend Debbie, and most importantly, the Lord. To, to the nonprofit organization, the young adults whom she's helped using her money management expertise, she's sweetness personified. Then there's Bitter, her mother Eunice, her ex husband Richard, and her brother James, an addict who's decimated Eunice's finances, leaving Marjorie trapped, supporting them both. She resents being seen as a fountain of money for her brother to squander, all while Eunice decides her derides her. I'm sorry. All the while, Eunice derides her as stingy, judgmental, and self righteous. Her married children expect her to be the backup babysitter. Her single daughter, a hand holding therapist, her mother sees her simply as a bottomless source of cash and decides after her divorce she hasn't met a man to share her life with. Bitter is paralyzing fear she experiences at the thought of leaving the safety of her state government job, even though it has become stale and unfulfilling. Marjorie has much to be grateful for, but feels imprisoned by negative cycles and trapped by the expectations of her family. Enjoy her story as God reveals that her fighting with her when, excuse me, Enjoy her story as God reveals that He's fighting with her when she feels weak. Wait a minute, that He's fighting with her. Okay. Misunderstood, used, and taken for granted. He's got the answers for her, but she must conquer her faith test. Okay, and then the next one is Exposing His Secret by Kia Summers. Raymond is now a big time singer, rapper, songwriter, and owns the label and managed the Lil Lucas Group and other artists. Life was good for him, but something was missing. Drugs, alcohol, and women did not fulfill that void. Raymond lives an enviable life, or so he has the fans believe. Behind the facade lies a web of secrets, secrets that he's kept about his family buried for far too long. As he continues to publicly lavish in his fame, internally he struggles with an addiction he could care less if he'll ever kick, and an impending spiritual crisis if he does face his demons, but in the hard work and check his pride. As he continues to publicly lavish in his fame, internally he struggles with an addiction he could care less if he never kicks, and an impending spiritual crisis if he doesn't face his demons, put on the hard put in the hard work and check his pride. The one thing standing in his way is him. Can Ron pull himself out of his misery before his life implodes? Will God step in and give him grace even when he turns his back on God? What will happen next in exposing his secrets, the Raymond Lucas scandal? And then we have another one. It is called Pray for Me by Niche Santiago. This is kind of like a young adult story. In book number one, sounds like they're in college, but book number two, they're adults. There's also a spinoff to this, but it has totally different characters. So it says Harmony's life is picture perfect except for one major obstacle: her overbearing parents. Despite her impeccable grades and well behaved nature, they suffocate her with their rules. Just when she reaches her breaking point, fate steps in, revealing the mesmerizing gaze of Cairo, a boy like no other. Cairo, seeking solace from a troubled past, arrives in town, aspiring of a brighter future, yet life's trials weigh heavily on him, making it a challenge to stay on the right path. He yearns for redemption, but it is far from easy. Then, like a guiding light, Harmony enters his world, and suddenly his problems lose their grip. However, there's a forbidden element that threatens to tear them apart. Harmony's parents says they cannot see each other. Determined not to let their love be crushed by oppressive rules, Harmony decides to venture into the unknown, risking everything for her chance at happiness. Everything should go well as long as they don't get caught. And then we have Too Little Too Late by Victoria Christopher Murray. This is a free book. It says, she took marriage vows to be honest and true, but Jasmine's still hiding secrets to keep her husband. Minister Bush by her side. When Hosea's ex fiancee, Nastasia, 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 whatever her name is, suddenly appears in New York, Jasmine knows it's not for coincidence. A former man stealer herself, Jasmine is very aware of Natasia's motive, even if Hosea is not. Complicating Jasmine's life is the secret she kept from her baby's daddy. Lucky for her, Brian Lewis has problems of his own. His wife, Alexis, is convinced he's cheating on her. But Brian's real betrayal is much worse. Revealing the truth to his wife could lead him back to the biggest mistake of his life, Jasmine. Two marriages are in desperate jeopardy. Will Jasmine be able to scheme to save her own, or will she leave to choose between protecting her past and compromising her future? Even if Jasmine and Brian find the courage to stop the lies, it may be too little too late. Though I Stumble, which is by Kim Cash Tate, it is 99¢. It is a part of a series. And then Kim Cash Tate has another series. I love this book. This is the book that got me started with Kim Cash Tate, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. I have at this point read all of her books except for the last one. It's called As I Cling, and I did buy it. I just haven't read it yet. Um, so it says, four women, one weekend, and their lives will never be the same. Stephanie London thought she heard from God when she moved to Hope Springs, North Carolina. But a tragedy in the small town left her soul desolate. Now her husband's interactive in a inattentiveness, I'm sorry. Now her husband's inattentiveness has pushed her over the edge. Bereft of hope, she travels home to St. Louis as a women's ministry conference kicks off. Though less than enthused to attend, new friendships offer strength and light. But what happens when the weekend ends and real life begins? Treva Langston grieves still the loss of her husband of 22 years. Now, 2 years later, her heart is breaking again as her oldest daughter travails come to light. Traveling from D.C. to St. Louis for a women's conference seemed the last thing she would do given the circumstances. But in St. Louis, her path crosses with someone new and her world turns upside down. Will it only lead to more heartbreak? Jillian Mason can't wait to attend the Living Word Conference. She's done their Bible study for years and expects God to show up in an amazing way. But the weekend delivers something unexpected, a delivery about her husband. As the state of her marriage hangs in the balance, Jillian is suddenly anxious about returning home. Faith Langston has always been a girl of God's heart. She loves Living Word studies and registered early for the conference. But at the end of her college sophomore year, she finds herself in circumstances she never imagined. With a heart that has strayed from God, she makes it to St. Louis nonetheless, with her boyfriend in tow. But how will she find her way back to God? Four women in different seasons of life converge at a women's conference with a theme that charges them to run in hot pursuit for Christ. But how do they run when challenges seem unsurmountable? And can they help one another navigate the difficult terrain? I love Kim Cash Tate. I was happy to see that this book was 99¢, and I went for it. So if you have not read Kim Cash Tate, this is a great place to start, and it's 99¢. Our last book, which is called Give a Little Love by Rhonda McKnight. Now, if you're not familiar with Rhonda McKnight, again, this is a great place to start. 99¢. You will not find free 99¢ and Kindle Unlimited books by Kim Cash Tate, Rhonda McKnight, Kimberly Lawson Roby. Like the Christian fiction books are books that for me, most of the time, I know that I'm gonna buy them. I don't even look them up on Kindle Unlimited or um, because I don't anticipate that they're going to be free. These are people who you are just really, I've already accepted that I'm going to have to pay full price for their books or get them at a thrift store or something like that. But so I was really, really happy to see that Kim Cash Tate and Rhonda McKnight had a book for 99 cents. Let me get into it. So it says, Brooke Jordan thought her Christmas was going to be boring, particularly since stuck working at Montego Bay, Jamaica, instead of home in Charlotte, North Carolina, with her family. Paradise isn't paradise when you're not where you want to be. But this Christmas is anything but uneventful. Three airplanes land on the island, and Brooke finds herself in exchange that causes love, temptation, and hate to surface. Marcus Thompson has pain in his past, but he's decided it's time to try to love again. A widowed orphan from a wealthy family, he's alienated from his grandfather and wants a family of his own. His feelings for Brooke can't be denied, but she won't give him a chance to prove he's not the playboy she thinks he is. Though she finds Marcus tempting, Brooke is determined to get off the island without falling for his charms. The two people she trusts the most betrayed her in the worst way, and she isn't prepared to risk love again. But when her worst enemy stands on her doorstep needing the generosity that has always been part of Brooke's character, she begins to question who she is and what she's allowed heartbreak to do to her. Will she let anger and hate take over and turn her into someone else? Or will she find that even in her pain, she has the capacity to give? I have read this book and it is so good. And the funny thing is, I don't particularly care for Christmas books. Um, yeah, I don't really care for them. Not that I won't read them if I think that they're interesting enough, but I just kind of skip over them most of the time. But this one, because it was by Rhonda McKnight, I wanted to read it, and of course, she did not disappoint. So that was the last book in the series. I did have another book by Kia Summers that is free, but if you go to Kia Summers' catalog, most of the books in her catalogs, most of the first book in any series that she's written is free. So I just wanted to say that because it's easier. If this is something that you're interested in, you can just go to her catalog, and most all of the ones are free from the series. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to know who your favorite Christian fiction author is. Do you know of any male Christian fiction authors? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and do all of the YouTube things like, comment, subscribe, share. Until next time, see you soon.